Hi guys, so we're now live. We're again in front of all the audience, and nice to see everyone here. Nithin sir, thank you so much for taking time out. For us, this is going to be a session which is recorded for everyone to be seen later. We're going to have a distribution segment which goes on to the right people that are looking forward to know about NFTs. Also understanding why NFTs are important, how do they really get their intrinsic value, also how are they speculated in this kind of an environment, which is, is it a very bullish momentum in terms of speculation, or is it just the beginning of a bigger momentum that is behind it? Thank you, Andrea, to being a part of it. You looking at it from a very financial perspective. You run a capital fund yourself. Maybe your insights towards NFTs would provide other people to see it from a financial aspect, more from a financial aspect. Thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you.
Jane is here from ShellPay. Thank you so much, Jane. I think you haven't turned on your video. We can't see you, but I hope we can hear you properly.
Okay. Love to be here.
Thank you so much. Nilotpal is here. He was ex-chief business officer of Marlin, now doing Genesis Shards, a pre-IDO platform on Polkadot, focusing on NFTs again. Neil has been an instrumental part in the Indian ecosystem, a very close friend, known him for long, and I am glad to do so. Amey, nice to see you here. Amey is, leading the blockchain segment as well in Tech Mahindra, and obviously NFTs as an interest has, overtaken everyone here. So I would suggest let's start from Nithin, and a little bit of an introduction on about yourself, Nithin, followed by why you think NFTs, will be the key to the metaverse, and is it a metaverse really, building up? If we can see it or not, tangibly, is it building, and are NFTs instrumental? Let's start off with that, and others can also focus on that. And maybe Nithin, you being a senior and being can you run it through so that everyone has an equal participation and has their views forward on the same?
Sure.
Thank you so much.
So I'm primarily an investor in the cryptocurrency space. That's the only thing that I do as far as investments are concerned. Like, I don't buy stocks or anything. I won't say I'm more of an only NFT player. I'm more of a crypto, like a Bitcoin. I'm interested in protocols. And I've been earlier in the NFT space also. Earlier itself, I was there from the CryptoKitties, the first wave in the 2017. So it was just interest. It was digital scarcity. Now, for the audience purpose, I'll try to bring this whole metaverse. What is a metaverse? Before we go in deep, at least from my perspective, I think you can't define a metaverse exactly. The word is like it's beyond the universe. So it's not like I can say the metaverse started today or there's going to be a period after the metaverse. Like once upon a time, people were trying to explain, in the 90s, they were saying the internet is coming. It's the super information highway, but nobody knew exactly how it will turn out to be. Same way, the metaverse is kind of similar. We all know that tomorrow everything is going to be digital. We are going to be playing in the virtual world, but is that the only thing that is a metaverse? It is going to be a virtual space where we communicate, where we collaborate. We're going to sell things. We're going to share value. You're going to share those spaces. And there, NFTs or non-fungible tokens in one way is a way for a lot of creators today. Like Andrea over here, he's an artist, right? Andrea, you're an artist. Now, in the physical world, Andrea had to, make an art, find an exhibitor or a gallery to sell this art. And then he's confined to that space in London or the people who can reach his gallery over there. In the metaverse, his art is going to be digital. It's going to be all over the world. And as he said, somebody who bought his art piece, we were talking right before this backstage. His art was sold recently. It's the Sophia thing. It was sold on Nifty. He doesn't know where the artist who bought it, where does he live, but he contacted him through Twitter. So all this is going to be part of the metaverse. There's going to be an infrastructure out here. And with that, I will share it to, I will send it to Andrea so that then we can go to the next person so that he can explain his process of what he did, how he did it, and we can go into different topics as we move along.
For sure. Do you want me then to tell you a bit of the story about, so me as I have like two hats, like from the one hand, I'm an investor in the blockchain space through Eterna Capital, and I'm also an artist. And as Nithin was said, I did a sale with Sophia the Robot on Nifty Gateway last month. I mean, it's a very innovative space, and we managed, to put together something that was very profound from an artistic standpoint and delivered in a way that was completely unique. So we're very happy about the response of the NFT community. I think, we should all consider that it's still extremely early, and there is still a lot, that can be done. And for this reason, if you really are passionate and you have, innovative ideas, the community is very supportive. That's very important, and this is something that I really like. On the NFT space is basically on Twitter, 100%. And if you contact people there, they will respond. They will collaborate with you. Like it's a community that really came, from zero to where it is right now in a completely organic way. And now it's very interesting to see how it will evolve. And my collaboration with Sophia was basically me doing portraits of all the key members of behind, Sophia the Robot and Hanson Robotics and Sophia herself. And then Sophia looking at my artworks through her neural networks, she processed my artworks and then, came up with something that even for us was difficult to, explain. And that was good because the point was not to answer any questions, provide any answers, but to raise new questions. So, it was quite surreal, the whole experience. It got a lot of coverage, and we feel that, it's just the beginning. I myself, I will do more shows by myself, collaborating with Sophia as well. We'll do the same. So it's just very interesting. It's a completely new space, and the blockchain community is a community of very creative people. So it's very refreshing to see that whenever a new technology comes to actually unlock that creative power, the community is extremely responsive. And then another thing also to mention is NFTs are not just the fine art space. There are so many other avenues that you can explore. Like there are a lot of implications, in the gaming sector, domains, insurance, digital land. There are real estate agencies now in the metaverse that can help you out to buy a house in the metaverse. So I do see a society basically where we do live in the real world, but then we do have also a presence in the metaverse where everything is an NFT. There are houses, people going around in the forms of avatars. You can have, you can hang around with people there. You can visit the art museum. And if you like an NFT there, you can buy it. So it's something that I think also reduce barriers to entry for opportunities, because I was originally born in Pisa, but raised in Viareggio, which is a small city in Italy. And then I came to London, I live here now since 7 years. But, if you live in a small place, you don't have access to certain opportunities. Of course, the internet improved that, but I think the metaverse can make, we can make another leapfrog step with that, saying that you put on a VR headset, you plug into the metaverse and you can engage, you can meet someone there that has the same interests as you have. And yeah, it's just amazing. And now they're just some very early stage platforms, but big players like even Epic Games now are entering the space. So it's very interesting.
Just like Ready Player One, right, Andrea?
Yeah.
And with that, I'll ask Nilotpal, who's working on the sharding side. So he's working on infrastructure, basically. This world will need a different infrastructure, because the current infrastructure that we have, let's say we're doing a chat on Facebook. We're chatting to the server. We're not chatting directly to the other person. And there's a limitation for live chats if you're going through a server. So Nilotpal, tell us about yourself and the project that you're doing and how it's going to help this metaverse transition, actually. I can't hear Nilotpal. I think your mic is muted, Nilotpal.
Yeah. I was on mute. Sorry. Can you hear me now better?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Awesome. So I've been in the crypto space since 2016 and kind of started my journey more like many of you as an investor back in the early days. I think most of us mostly start the journey in the same way. So similar thing happened to me as well. 2017 was again a pretty good year for I think all of us. We did pretty well, but 2018-19 was kind of a downside. During that window, I joined a company which is called Marlin Protocol back then. So that is more in the space of communication on blockchains. So we were trying to kind of scale the blockchain overall architecture more at a layer 0 interface. That happened for about 18 to 19, but 2020 cometh when I kind of realized that NFT is a space which is really coming out pretty big, and that somehow piqued my attention. Initially, I realized that this is a space which is pretty much a parallel universe, and the kind of opportunities that we are seeing right now in terms of a tennis player creating an NFT of her arm and saying that I can basically put any tattoo on my arm given whoever buys my NFT. Like this basically tells us how big an opportunity the NFT space has overall. But having said that, like while it was pretty much in the September, October last year when me and my partner, we were kind of discussing ways in which we could kind of evolve the space more. And as Andrea said, like NFTs are not just about collectibles. Like there's a ton of new opportunities, ton of new streams or fields which are going to come up on NFTs. So that is what exactly we are doing. We are trying to kind of create a new vertical, or I would say a new niche for NFTs. We are trying to kind of shape out the NFTs from just being mere collectibles to being some kind of a DeFi option. And that's where Genesis Shards comes in. So I'm currently kind of a co-founder there, and along with my co-founder Garland Vaughn, some of you might know him. He's also the founder of Momentum 6 Capital. And we have been kind of running that firm together as an investment firm for the last 7-8 months. And I'm an investment partner there as well. And now it's also like Genesis Shards. So we kind of came together and started this platform. The very outlook of Genesis Shards is to kind of create a DeFi option market based on NFTs. And we are trying to solve the problem of pre-IDOs. So we know that in the IDO space, the tokens kind of, so we all know, right? Like the IDOs happen, the tokens get liquidity, they get listed on the Uniswap and several other exchanges. But what happens before the IDOs? Like what happens when the tokens are still not listed? So basically we have a kind of a vacuum or a kind of a space wherein there is not much trading that's happening. You can't trade them. They're all locked. And we know that there are multiple coins, there are multiple projects which kind of stays in that locked stage for sometimes months, for sometimes years. And the investors often kind of find it a pretty difficult proposition to kind of get their stakes out in certain cases. And most important, in the pre-IDO space, we realized that the VCs, basically Eterna Capital, like we have Andrea over here, then we have our own fund, like Momentum 6 Capital, and there are so many others which are out there. We do get the allocations of these projects pretty early on. But what happens to the public? They don't get exposure to them. They have to wait for an IDO to happen or maybe a listing to happen. That's where they get the exposure. So to kind of solve that problem wherein we can give the public some kind of an exposure early on, we created a launchpad platform. Like we have seen Polka starters, we have seen DAO makers and the site and the likes of them on IDO side. But we are creating more of a pre-IDO platform wherein the same kind of a launchpad experience is given to projects. Instead of the projects directly launching their tokens, they are kind of locking their tokens into NFTs. And these NFTs kind of behave more like DeFi options. And those NFTs people can buy in. So basically people are getting exposure to the tokens much before the IDO has happened. So that's the concept of Genesis Shards. And we are creating a launchpad-like experience for the projects over there. Now, going forward, we are also having partnerships with many of the launchpads who are essentially going to be an upstream partner for us. So the journey goes like this right now. So that we basically mint NFTs for the projects. And these NFTs are like having tokens wrapped inside them with a vesting schedule. Now, the price of that NFT is determined by the number of tokens that are inside. It is also determined by the time to maturity of that vesting schedule and also by the volatility. So in effect, you can realize that this NFT is more like an option, which has got all the option components like alpha, beta, gamma, and the rest. So the pricing of that NFT defines basically the price of that token inside and the other components. And eventually, when the token gets listed on an exchange or it does an IDO, the people who are owning those NFTs, they can redeem those tokens from inside the NFT, and they can get an exposure to it. So that's the very basic concept that we are trying to run. And this is more like version 1 of Genesis Shards. But we believe that NFT space is evolving and there's a lot more that can be done to it. Specifically the DeFi option space, like if we not talk about DeFi, if you talk about option, it's like a multi-billion-dollar, or to be precise, sometimes even trillion-dollar market. Like we think we can call it a trillion-dollar market. So we think it's going to be a huge space that's going to open up in the NFT world when we kind of try to integrate DeFi options in it, not just kind of see it more as collectibles. Because right now, most of the NFTs that we have, they're like collectibles. So yeah, we are basically trying to create a new door of opportunity for NFTs, and we believe it's going to kind of have a pretty big wave pretty soon. So that's what our intention is, and that's what our belief is right now.
Awesome. So as everybody is saying, it's just not collectibles. I'll give you an example for all the viewers over here. Jack Dorsey's first tweet was sold for $2.5 million. So it's not realistically a collectible, but the tweet in reality, do you know, the tweet is on Twitter. Twitter owns the tweet. So what you get is kind of like an autograph or something like that, right? So anyway, with that, I will hand it over to Amey to tell us what he is doing on the enterprise side from Tech Mahindra to help with this space or this booming space, or what any project they're specifically interested in over here.
Sure. Thanks so much, Nithin. I hope I'm loud and clear to the audience.
Yes, you are.
So I think in the panel, I feel like I'm a diversity candidate because you guys come from the crypto world and you are very successful and been working in the NFT space. We really focus on the enterprise side and try to see what we can do in the regulatory environment and help our customers. Right? I've been working in this space for the last 4 years myself, and one of the key projects that we have been implementing is the TII UCC regulation in India, which basically has close to 20,000 businesses onboarded on a Hyperledger Fabric-based platform to stop the pesky calls and spam calls and the fraud calls that a citizen of India gets on his phone. So that's where our big bang journey started in this space. Currently, if I have to talk about the NFT area, we are really focused on experiences, right? We've been working with our clients in the enterprise side, large automotive organizations, or say even education institutes. We're looking at how these NFTs can create more value in the experience that a person gets out of collectibles or out of something that has a value to it in a digital space. Some things that we are doing for our clients also involve bringing in carbon footprint certifications, ethical sourcing certifications to the product that a consumer is going to buy from our clients. We're also looking at bringing in royalty, blockchain-based royalty platforms connected to an NFT, so that these creators of NFT can basically have a very good have an ability to track the consumption of the NFT or the change of ownership of the NFT, and thereby get into monetization of that data. I've also been working with the World Economic Forum as a fellow to look at how the NFT space can be connected to the data marketplace, which we've been working. So if you have heard about Data for Common Purpose initiative, which is being run globally, I'm part of the Colombia government initiative and the Indian government initiative, where we're looking at opening up data sets from these ecosystems, for example, a health ecosystem or an agriculture ecosystem, and monetize those data sets. And how can an NFT kind of technology or a concept can be used in certain way. So I've always seen, like Nilotpal mentioned, 2017 was a great space for crypto, and 2018 and 19 not so much. In the enterprise world, it's the reverse, right? 2018 and 19 was a really good time for the non-crypto side of the world. And we see now it's emerging or it's merging into both crypto and non-crypto, and that's where I think this kind of discussion that I'm having today with you guys is very important for me and for the people who are there on the panel today. Nithin, you're on mute if you're speaking.
Thank you. I think the host had muted. Anyway, thank you, Amey, for explaining on the blockchain, the enterprise side. And end of the day, NFT is about the fans. The main piece of NFT is, there was the original Kelly paper, 1,000 fans, and true fans, how they can support the people they are fans about. And I'm going to turn over to Jane because she's in ShellPay. So I'm assuming they're doing something with payments in this space. And so she can explain how that will help the space and how she sees NFTs and how it's the key to the metaverse. Jane?
Hi. Hi. I'm in Shanghai. So our experience, my background is also investment. When about 10 years ago, I'm interested in blockchain space. Actually, I invested in a couple of companies during that time. One is actually a virtual world for education. So if you think about Metaverse, that is a Metaverse with which don't have NFT yet. So that is a project that we built for kids in China to learn how to program using the MIT Media Labs project called Scratch. So the kids can use this Scratch to build things, maybe build a game and let other kids to play and share with each other. So we formed Avatar, which is a capsule man, right? A man like capsule. So they will build their avatar basically, and then was into and they can socialize, and then they can share their programs. That is, they make games or make other applications using the software called Scratch. So actually, we have more than a couple of hundred schools, kids are on the platform. So this is a virtual world, so they can chat with each other as avatar, and then they will post their projects onto it. So and then they communicate, and then we start to put on to help them how to innovate, right? So somebody can post a problem which they meet in their lives, and then they can form teams. These avatars in the virtual world will join them and do a project together. So it's basically actually here without blockchain technology, this is actually a community called DAO, right? Decentralized autonomous organization. So kids or teachers, they come together to do projects or solve problems, and in a virtual world with avatar. Then we upgrade sort of this metaverse. Okay, then the metaverse idea comes in. We upgrade it. So now we put blockchain into the program. So each avatar is an ID with a wallet. So each avatar's ID with a public key and a private key, and we put in a token. So we start to reward the kids with who are doing projects. They are raising tokens to in this virtual world to do project together. So as my experience in China, I realized that so virtual items, right, are NFTs. So and then when the kids did a project, maybe it is a piece of artwork, right? Some kids are using game, right, to do their art and put music together and then share with people. So now they are able to make NFTs, right? And they can sell NFTs, and they can have commerce with each other. So I see a metaverse with NFTs that can make a decentralized learning community in our case, right? we call it MZ World. Okay, we are still working on it, upgrading it. So people can come together to form learning communities, and then can reward each other and have commerce with each other. So I think these three elements, Metaverse, DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, and the NFTs actually formed a new form of society. So it is an interesting experiment that if we are in a metaverse kind of environment, how we as human beings, but in a metaverse, you are avatar, you have, and everybody with a banking system, everybody have a bank accounts, right? Because your ID is a wallet, and then all the transactions are recorded among these community members. So when I realized this, and people see this as a game, but actually we are doing a game to form a society that can be across nations, and you are just an avatar, right? And then we can form, how do we run this community? We can use token to vote, and then we can form a smart contract to form these transactions and have rule-based communities, right? So I see this metaverse NFTs and decentralized organization as a new way, maybe for us human society to experiment to form a new kind of society that we want to experiment, right? So I think that is interesting. So I will put these three elements into perspective, and I hope to experiment with people all over the world. Okay, so that is what I have been doing. So thank you.
Thank you, Jane. So as Jane was talking about the virtual world for learning, let me try to explain the gaming world so that for all our listeners out here to show some examples. So typically in the earlier days when you played a game, or let's say you're playing Fortnite, you buy an artifact over there. You can only use it in Fortnite. You can't take it outside. You can think that it's kind of a very scarce item that you have. Maybe it's a gun, but unfortunately, you can't take it to another game. And not only that, if that is a very popular piece, Fortnite can break your contracts and just maybe print another 100 guns out there, right? So in the metaverse, that kind of a gaming world, if once that comes to become a reality, you can take your character, you can take your avatar from one platform to the other because it is interoperable. That will be kind of a future that we may not be able to envision it exactly, or we might not know how exactly it will work, but this is something we can think about. All right. Now, I wanted to check if any of the users or the people in the session have questions. Please do type the questions in. We'll try to answer them. You can direct it to any one of us. And so as we go on, if you have questions, raise your hand, put in a question out there. I am looking at the chats. But that being said, Andrea, what do you think, like as we go into the metaverse, will we all have one identity, one avatar, or would we be having multiple avatars when we get into this AR, VR world where we can see people in the metaverse? So can we be one? Are we going to have one digital identity to get in, or can we have multiple digital identities?
You're on Andrea, you have to unmute yourself.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You can hear me now?
Yeah.
So what I was saying is that's an interesting question, and I think it pretty much mimics the real world in the sense that normally you do have one identity, right? But many people have multiple faces, like multiple identities. One time to do one thing, another time to do another one. So I think you'll have one avatar that will represent yourself, but I think no one can stop you from creating, with another address, another avatar where you do some other stuff. as in real life as well. No one stops you from doing that. So yeah, the way we should see it is that the world, we see it right now digitally, okay, and it's gonna be exactly the same.